So welcome to a sort of restart of Teachers Teaching Teachers. We've been kind of figuring out how to deal with Hangouts and so forth. Anyway, we are live. It is the 22nd of January, and I think Christina Cantrill might be joining us, and Chris Sloan and Janet Ioko. But we have with us tonight Anna Maine as well. Welcome.
Thank you.
Why don't you, let's jump in, and the others will join us as they do. Why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us how long you've been teaching at Berkeley High School, is that correct? And what you're up to these days. Very excited about your kids' posts, by the way.
Me too. Yeah, I actually just got home because I've stayed late helping one of my students with an IEP publish something on the web. So that was super cool for him.
You mean on Youth Voices or elsewhere?
Yeah, on Youth Voices. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Writing is really hard for him, and we spent a lot of time putting something together, and I'm sure there's still plenty of mistakes. But just he was really excited to be done, and he was like, "Oh wow, I can see that it's published." And he clicked on the link and he saw it there, and he was pretty excited.
Is this the one about immigration that just went up?
Yeah,
like
it just
an hour ago?
went up. Yeah, there's yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
go back a little bit.
Sorry.
Where do these essays didn't just jump out of nowhere? But tell us about the students. They are what grade?
Yeah, so sorry. I teach at Berkeley High,
That's
which is a comprehensive high school. It's the only high school in Berkeley, so it's quite large. We have over 3,000 students. And I'm really fortunate because I get to teach. So sorry, my cat is in the background.
We're used
let
to
me know
that.
if
that's okay.
Distracting.
That's fine. I was in Berkeley in October. I think I mentioned it to you, and I ran by the high school, so yeah, I get a sense of the neighborhood there. But
yeah, if next time hopefully we can connect. I'm really bad about answering email unless it's like urgently related to
it's all good. Yeah.
The student. But yeah, so I teach English language development level 4. So at Berkeley High there's maybe I should wait.
Hi there. Hi, Nicole. You can keep going.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Nicole just jumped in.
So
Nicole, we can introduce her. Sorry. Nicole is from Austin. Is that correct? Yeah, it is still correct.
Yep. Austin, Texas.
Okay. Welcome.
Hi.
And there's Janet, who's from California, also down in San Diego. Hi, Janet.
Hey, Janet.
She may not be hearing us yet, but she'll work it out.
and who's the other person?
So this is Anna Maine, right? Yes.
Yeah, Maine, like the state, is my last name. And I teach in Berkeley, California.
Oh, neat.
And if you want to know more, you have to go back and no, I'm just
rewind.
I'm just teasing.
I really haven't said much.
So, well, let me summarize then. So Anna you've been on Youth Voices before, maybe a year ago or so, I think, with some kids, or maybe.
Yeah, I actually first learned about Youth Voices through Joe Paraiso, who's a teacher at Fremont. I was her student teacher 2 years ago. Last year was my first year teaching, and I knew about the website. And so I reached out to Paul and asked him to set up some accounts for my students. And we used it, I think only twice last year for 2 different assignments. And this year I'm hoping to use it more and use it more frequently and involve more students. So I teach ELD, English Language Development.
Yeah, I was going to stop you and explain the D.
Yeah.
Just briefly, you don't have to. Janet, can you hear us?
I do.
Okay, we can hear you too. Great. We're all good. Okay. Welcome, Janet.
Yeah, I think for people outside the state of California, it's also common to, it's called ESL, they're called English language learners. So it's that population of students. At Berkeley High, we call them newcomers. It's basically kids who are learning English in addition to other languages that they speak at home. So I'm really excited for them to start using the website.
And all 3 of the groups of kids who you got in are ELDs?
No, there's the smallest roster. Those are ELD, and the ones with the longest names, I would say, are a lot of
Right.
ELD students. That class has only 17 students. And then I also teach 2 sections of juniors. Like the class is called American Literature. And in our program, my class is the alternative to AP language. So it's sort of students who are already taking a lot of AP classes or don't feel like they're strong English students.
So what grade are they in?
They're juniors.
The juniors, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then the ELD class, they're grouped by language level. So I have freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors in one class.
Christina Cantrell is here as well. Welcome, Christina. She's eating as well, so
I was wondering how others eating too. Sorry.
and I mentioned that she was when she first got on here. So I was asking you to go back a little bit. As you're talking, maybe I'll show some of the work your kids have been doing. Does that, I think that'll work. Let's try that. But I was asking you to go back and describe a little bit about where these essays came from, like how you started and where they are now, and then a little bit about where you hope to go, to as much as you want. But
Okay.
I'll start sharing some of them.
Yeah. So the only things that have been posted are pieces written by my juniors. The yellow jacket, yeah. So we're in finals right now, and this is part of their final project for the semester. We started the semester by talking about rhetoric and linguistics, and then we read a book by Tommy Orange called There, There. I don't know if people have heard of it. It's really hot out here in the Bay Area because Tommy Orange, it's set in Oakland and he is from around here. And so it's like everyone's talking about it, everyone's reading it, and the kids were really into it.
It's a memoir or what?
No, it's kind of complicated. It follows 12 urban Native American characters who are kind of, a lot of them are based on real people, and they all kind of convene at a powwow at the end of the book, but it's told from 12 different perspectives. So it's tricky to follow for some students, but it's set like in the 2010s somewhere. So for the kids, the language was really relatable, and they're like, oh, I know that place. And it was cool for them to see them read something that felt really familiar to them, I think. But it's hard to, like, for me anyways, one of the challenges for the final was like coming up with a project that would kind of combine these really different things. So I assigned them an action project. They had to pick a topic. Yeah, that's a good one. The wildfires one is
Pick on that. I will.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah.
One of my stronger writers, I would say. They had to pick a topic that they like really cared about. And that took a while. They did some research, and the idea is that they would narrow that topic down into a specific issue. And the more local or the more specific the issue, the better. They had to research facts about the issue and then research different solutions that have been attempted. So this kid's talking about wildfires in California. And for him, I think he mentions it in his first paragraph. It's relevant because it affected him and it affected people he knows. So yeah, he says, during the wildfires, my city received poor air quality, which that was like very true at the time. So they did all this work, and then they had 3 choices. They had to raise awareness about whatever issue they had chosen. So they could create a blog post where they basically expanded on the essay I asked them to write. They could create a social media campaign using Adobe Spark. I don't know if people are familiar with that. They would make like fake social media posts and then explain them. And then the third thing they could do is create a PSA. There's a group of kids did a really funny one about like vaping, and they had involved different teachers, and it's been really cool. So the ones that you would see here are all of the blog posts that students chose to make.
Just to quickly say, those other things could come up here too, no?
Yeah, they probably could. I just didn't.
It's okay. Of course, I'm
Yeah,
always, looking for the
no,
next
you're right.
thing. I'm just, yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, I think what I tried to do was think about like the different strengths that these students have. And so they're a really artistic group of students. So I tried to pick one more traditional thing, Englishy thing, which would be the blog post, and then the social media campaign and the PSA video were more kind of not traditionally what you would think of.
Yeah. Anyway, another way to say what I just said is I would love to see the vaping
Yeah.
PSA as well. But so what does Adobe Spark end up as?
So
What?
it's basically all it really does is it helps them with formatting. So they can pull up like a template for what could be an Instagram post, and it looks familiar to them because it's the same shape, like a square. And then they can search public domain photos and impose those on them. And then the assignment was to also include information. So if vaping was their topic, they would have to include statistics about vaping or a link to an anti-vaping website or something.
Does it end up being a video or?
It can. So Adobe Spark has this function where it's called a video function, but really what you're doing is you're kind of animating a slideshow. So it has like a storyboard function, and you can put pictures, you can put text. And with the cool thing that I really like about it is you can narrate. There's like a little microphone icon, and you can hold down the microphone button, and kids can do this at school on a Chromebook, which is nice. And so they can narrate their own video. And if anyone chooses to do that, I'll find out by the end of this week. I will be sure to share those with you.
Quick question before I ask the bigger question. But otherwise, other people, please jump in and interrupt us. Shouldn't be just Anna and me talking. But but do you continue seeing these students next semester?
Yes.
Okay.
I will.
All right. So we can imagine embedding other kinds of media on these posts as well. Just a future note for that. Let's start with sort of what questions or thoughts do you have about how this has gone so far?
Well, one thing I did differently last year is we spent more time on youth voices, and they looked at other examples that other students had made, and we studied blog posts as a genre. And what I found is that we spent so much time doing that when it came time to they were just really stressed about the writing process. I didn't allow enough time for them to actually create their own projects. So I cut that part out this year. So we didn't talk about blog posts as a genre. I, pointed them to a few strong examples that I had, pre-selected, and then had them answer some questions about it. But we didn't spend more than 30 minutes or something, talking about like what a blog post is. So my question, I guess, I don't know if people feel like maybe that these came out quite academic, I think, and pretty formal. So I don't know if that is a good thing or what people think. They already have comments on them, which is cool. So I'm excited about that. But it's definitely different from last year.
We've been doing this thing, and we just throw it out on social media and so forth, that we invite people to come to Connected Fridays. So that'll do two things. First of all, your school now has a little orange box around it, which means there's fresh stuff here under the what is it? It's a B. Under the B, there's
yellow jackets.
Yellow jacket, thank you. So there's fresh stuff there. This isn't so fresh, but the harvest is fresh. Pulse has some fresh stuff. Chris Sloan's kids over at Judge Memorial have some fresh stuff. So finding things that are new on Youth Voices and then using some of the guides or having them comment there any way you'd like would be a great thing to do. And of course, you know, Connected Friday can happen on Tuesday or Thursday too, right? It can happen any day you think it's an appropriate day to do. But like the idea of dropping everything and just commenting on what you find there feels nice and a good thing to do, I think, for kids. And just to say, there's up here in the right-hand corner, there's this comments button, which you get to see like all of the comments that have come up today and recently. And if you kind of have a board to show that, our kids at Pulse at least are like, oh, look, my comment got up, right? So that's a nice thing to kind of play with this as well. But was this your kid, dear Simon? No. I don't think so. You mentioned that you were with a student coming here, right? And he had posted, and it came, I got a notification for it. Can I quickly show you what I do when I get that notification? Because you can do some of this too. Right? If you go to your dashboard and then you go to all posts, what we see kind of quickly is Matthew the young man? No.
Andrew.
That's somebody. Oh,
Yeah,
so that's
Andrew.
cool. These two people are posting right now. So Matthew's still working on it. He's your student too?
I believe so. Oh yeah, the children, yeah. He and this other student chose to focus on how children have become the advocates for climate change and why that shouldn't be the case.
Ah,
Like pretty interesting.
it's a fascinating argument, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, he is my student.
So this trauma of separation didn't get published. So
Oh,
let's
okay.
quickly look at why, right? So I'm going to click on it. And again, everybody in this call has the ability to do this too on Youth Voices.
It didn't get published because you didn't publish it, or the student didn't publish it?
Well, we thought we had published it. I actually thought it was published when we left because
Oh, I see.
he got a notification. Like he clicked that blue button in the upper right-hand corner that said publish, and we waited a minute, and then I think the notification appeared at the bottom of his screen that said, you know, you can view post.
Yeah.
So you're
So I'm
removing
just correcting some of the
spacing
extra
stuff?
spacing,
Extra
not a
spacing.
big deal. Right. But okay, so he put the photo down here, right? And what has to happen is in the document section, if I'm going too fast at any of this, let me know. He needs to set the featured image here. And I'm going to look, since he did put it up, it is in the media library. If you look right away, it'll be easy to find. So I'm just going to pick that. So this is how I spend my spare time. Because he thinks it is published, and it will be published as soon as we get this up there. But these things are in front of my screen. I can't
So the problem was that he found an image that
nothing wrong.
I'm not
Go
sure I
ahead.
understood the problem. Sorry.
Yeah, nothing wrong with the image. He put it within the post instead of putting it up under featured image.
Which is what makes it the large image at the top.
Yeah, that's correct.
It won't display on the homepage, right?
Yeah, let me go back. Does this make sense now? So let me show it again. Over here on the right side, sometimes block is on. You need to bring on the document tab. And then toward the bottom, there's a place to put up a featured image, right? And that's where the image needs to go. Janet, I corrected some of your kids that way too, by the way.
Oh, I know. I saw that. Thank you.
I'm just, yeah.
Because they randomly put them in the middle. I'm like, what are you doing?
Oh, let me see. Okay, I want to keep, I like that he gives credit to the image here, though. I want to keep that.
Well, I think that was an accident, to be totally honest with you. But
I still like it.
while
Wait,
we're on this
Slash, it
post,
automatically does it.
Yeah,
which is
go ahead.
awesome.
while we're on his post, he was
Mhm.
trying to embed this really intense video of a family being reunited after being separated, and it's a YouTube video.
Oh,
and
and he
I
talks about it too. I read that.
right,
Yeah.
and he wanted to put it in his, like, attach it somewhere in the blog, or embed it. I mean,
Is it a YouTube video?
yeah, and I could not figure out how to do it.
Okay. So should we keep learning this way? Is this good? Yeah. Okay.
This is awesome.
Sorry, I totally
No,
monopolized.
this is,
Oh,
trust me, we're
You're
learning.
not. Yeah, it's cool. Do you know the name of the video?
I know we got it off of the ACLU. It's probably tagged with the ACLU. It's like family reunited, immigrant family reunited. Yeah, family separation probably. I bet that's what it is. And I think if I,
There's a lot of them. Wait, can you see? You can see my screen.
yeah,
right?
I can see your screen. Yeah.
Uh,
It's,
should we look at his post? Does he give it the title of it?
he might have, but I think he pulled it straight out of a, let me see if I can find it and maybe I can
Okay.
be more helpful.
Is this quote from the video?
No, I believe that's from the ACLU article.
Okay.
Sorry, I was just looking at this earlier today.
Um,
You could just do one of the other videos and then I can fix it later. It doesn't really matter. I'm more interested in the process.
Yep, I was just about to say the same thing. So where was that? Over here. So doesn't matter, right? We'll
Yeah,
choose
doesn't
this
matter.
one.
Yeah.
Okay, so we go to share,
Okay.
right? And there are actually two different ways to do this. So let me show you the way that will work for any video, right? And then well, let's go to YouTube. I'll show you. So I'm going to copy the YouTube link, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then WordPress is built around these blocks now. So would it be above this or below this paragraph, you think?
Probably above.
Okay.
I don't know.
Again, it's easy to change.
Yeah.
And he can look at it and say, oh, that shouldn't be there, right?
Uh-huh.
Which is fine. So we're going to, what did I just do? A couple of different ways of getting here too, but what works all the time is go to more options and then insert before, right? So now we have a block up here. And then we go over here and we find all of these possible blocks. And there's an embeds category. And there's a YouTube. And we pop the URL in there and it embeds for us. Pretty sweet, right?
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah, I like it.
It's always so much easier when you show it.
Well,
I get there and I
know, we sat
forget.
there. We were
It is
trying to
super easy, and I'm like, why?
well, do you want me to go back and redo any of that or not? Or is
No,
that
it's good.
confusing?
I'm laughing because it's not that hard, and I always forget to click on those little dots. I just made a little note to myself, three little dots in the corner,
Me too. I drew it on a piece of paper. 3 dots.
because that's where I
Okay.
forget. I'm like, where is it?
Mm-hmm.
I think there is, so I should probably stop, right? But I won't. Yeah, I'm going to take it out afterwards, but let's say we insert before, we go to this plus sign and we have a, you can actually use the search here too. I didn't, and look for YouTube, it'll show up. But if we go to embeds again, and is there a Vimeo? there is a Vimeo one. So if it was a Vimeo video, you could do that, right? But you might, let's say it's something they did out of Spark, but it has to be, and they put it up in their Google Drive somehow, right? Does that work? I don't know. I think.
You know what? We can try that. Once I start getting the projects turned in this week, I'll get somebody to try it.
Good.
See if we can embed the Adobe Spark.
So I'm gonna just do one more thing though, because so those Spark videos, they have to get online somehow. Although, depending on the format, you could probably just upload them here, but on Youth Voices. But I wanted to find this. This is a very useful block. If you just search for HTML, right there, you can paste an embed code, and things go in. Like you can put all sorts of things, like all of the Google slideshows and other things that can go up there as well. Right? Does that make some sense? So if you search for blocks, I think there is a link on there's a Google Doc that has 7 steps for putting stuff up on Youth Voices. I'll make sure you're shared on that, Anna. You may not be.
Okay.
But it's available. I'll get it. And in there, or you can just search for blocks on WordPress, and there's lots of information you can kind of find yourself. But they're pretty cool. I think they add some power to what we can do here. Over here, notice I'm on document again. Over here, I go here and I search and I look to see, I can just search. The student can do this too. If you want to put it on the front page, right, you got to find Showcase and click Showcase, right?
You mean like the front page of Youth Voices?
Of Youth Voices, that's right.
I see.
Right. And if it's about immigration, he tagged it with immigration, but he could also search for it and it might show up, and it does show up here as a category also, right? Nothing wrong with having it in both places. Maybe family is an issue too, right? So you can get as detailed as you want to with that. And then we're going to hit publish for him. And we're going to publish again. And
yeah, so he got that little view post at the bottom and thought that it was done.
So unfortunately,
good to know.
one of the things, anyway, there used to be a plugin that said, no, you didn't put a picture up yet, it won't work. But that plugin broke when they went to blocks. And it hasn't been revised yet. But anyway, so yeah, so usually when something looks like they think it's published, but it's not, it's because there's not a featured image. Okay? And again, the featured image is over here, it appears here, right? And then.
Do you want it to be live? Because that's not the right video, right?
It's not, but that's okay.
Yeah, I'll fix it as soon as we get off. I have to track down that video again.
Okay. What's that? There it is. Is that it? Yeah.
Yes.
It's an amazing title, by the way. Did you help him with that? How did?
Yeah, he had a little help. But I mean, it was really interesting because he had just written an essay about trauma, and after a lot of talking, he saw the connection between what he had written as his first essay about and this topic, which was really cool for him to realize. So he's promised to write about more uplifting things after this.
So I'm very excited. I have another direction I can go with this and want to kind of see if you're there, but I want to hear from Janet and Nicole, see what's up with what questions or thoughts you guys are having these days.
About what's happening next or what we're
Yeah,
doing?
let's
Or
go there.
What's happening?
Say quickly, because Anna doesn't know where you teach.
Oh, I teach
who
in
you
health
teach.
sciences, health sciences high school. I teach in an independent study program. I have about 30 students that come and go. I'm losing probably like 7. We've graduated out or we're going back to the school. So I'm about ready to get an influx of new kids. And I teach in San Diego in a variety of grades, 9 through 12. So that's kind of where I'm from. And I'm doing some work using Youth Voices as a platform for our kids to publish and connect. We've got a bunch of work piled up that my kids were in finals week. So you're going to see hopefully a flurry of posts from like 5 or 6 of my kids to get those things up and out there.
And I will be looking in all the possible corners they could post things.
I know.
I keep finding stuff from your kids.
They are the
Like,
weirdest.
oh, no.
Well, and I just have to get, but the problem is they'll do it on their own. And then
Yeah,
they'll just
I
say
know why,
posted,
yeah.
which is awesome, except for then I can't find it either. So it's one of the things where I'm like, can you just come in and we'll do it together, or tell me, or, you know, I forgot my hashtag or whatever. But one of the exciting things, Paul Hankins and I are going to create a hashtag, and we haven't yet, to figure out where this project is going to go. We've done he does incredible work with his kids in a whole long year project, but we're going to be really kind of revisiting the whole, what does it mean to be a teen in the United States and their issues. And so we're kind of coming up with a broad question, and he's going to be posting things from his high school and my high school and creating a space for that. So I'm really excited because it's going to have a variety of genres and options and things under topics. And
does it make sense for me to contact him at this point and see what he's thinking?
Let me contact him this weekend, and then we'll definitely contact him, because we're going to want to put the kids up, and he got new Gmail and all that kind of stuff. So we worked together at NCTE and got it all worked out. So I'm excited.
By the way, I just want to say hello to Peggy George, who has her video and audio off. But if you ever want to turn it on and say hi, Peggy, feel free. But really lovely to see you again, or see your name here again. And Nicole, what are you up to?
I'm living vicariously through you guys, because I'm in Austin, Texas, and I'm teaching for the school district. And this year I'm doing homebound instruction, which is a very interesting and unique position for me. And so I teach pre-K through 12th grade. So I'm kind of at a moot point currently with my caseload, and don't really have, it's just kind of a moot point. There's just nothing really for me to do on Youth Voices, unfortunately. At the beginning of the school year, I had like a great opportunity with one student to do a little bit, but compared to last year, it's a little bit different. So it's really great to hear Anna, hear what you're doing with your students, and Janet. So I get to kind of get excited about that. So yeah, I have some pre-K students currently.
That's different.
Whoa.
It's like a toddler overload, because I have a toddler at home also. So I'm kind of like, but anyway.
Nicole, you're gonna have to write about this experience someday.
I know, that's exactly right. But I liked hearing what you said, Janet, about asking the question, like, what is it like to be a teen in America, or something to that effect, because I had thought, it's interesting, right? Like, we have students writing on Youth Voices about so many different topics, but it's almost, when we were talking about different formats and like ways to connect students writing, I was thinking what if Youth Voices like posted kind of questions like that, broad questions, and then maybe, you know, throughout the network of students, regardless of what their project is or what they're doing at that moment, if it could kind of speak to one of those questions. I don't know. It was just a weird thing that I had a thought of, but I don't know.
That's good. Let's keep it in the, yeah. Thank you.
Because like, I think,
Christine,
Janet,
did you
pose a
want to jump in
question.
there?
Yeah, Janet, if you pose a question like that.
Wanted to make sure folks knew about this opportunity coming up, or that's available now, called Let's Talk About Election 2020. So, because it's,
Yeah, let's go there. Yeah, go ahead.
it's actually really related to being a teen in America today, right? So it's oriented towards kids that can't yet vote, but really wanting to encourage them to share their views and opinions about issues that matter to them with voters. So those voters could be their older brother and sister, it could be their cousin, their parents, the neighbor down the street, or like a broader sort of American audience. And this is, it's
I am
inspired.
sharing my screen, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yep. Okay.
It's inspired by Letters to the Next President that we did in 2016. And so before there was an
Which
election.
looked like this, but anyway, go ahead.
I loved that. That got me into this whole thing. That's how I met Paul.
Yeah, and we invited kids to write letters to the then not decided president, right? We had 20,000 kids participate around the country, which is really amazing. So actually I can just put in the chat the letters. I think it's letterstopresident.org is the website. It still exists. So, but this year, with the desire not to write to a sitting president, because this is an incumbent election, but to still support youth in sharing about issues they care about, KQED, which is the Public Broadcasting California. Anna, are you connected with them in any way?
Anna, we don't hear you.
Yeah, she's on mute.
Sorry. Yeah,
That's okay.
I'm not formally connected with them, but I know of them.
Okay. Well, KQED is taking up the lead this year. We worked with them last time, but they're taking the lead this year, and are asking youth for video and audio commentaries this time. So it's video and audio commentaries oriented towards with the audience of voters about issues they care about. And what's really exciting is that this showcase, KQED is hosting the showcase, and what they're going to do is, all the youth media can be published at that showcase, and then they're going to try to also broadcast the youth media on public broadcast all over the country. So right now in the showcase, there's a few examples from San Jose. I'm told that there's a few more from Wisconsin that will be published in the next couple of
There'll be
days.
2 dots on here. Good.
Yeah, there'll be 2 dots, right? I know. So
But we'll get more. Yeah.
we'll get more. Yeah. And so Anna, when you
I
were
mean, this just opened 2 days ago, right? So
yeah, it just opened Tuesday.
Yeah.
So Anna, when you were talking about, this work your kids have already done, I thought, oh, wow. And if you have them another semester, it would be really cool if maybe they move them into audio or video commentaries and publish them as part of this project. The audio and video commentaries also, they have a script with them. Do you want to look at it?
Should we show one? Is that okay, everyone? Yeah.
Yeah.
Will my sound work? I think it will. Well, if it doesn't, you'll tell
So
me.
Paul, when you share, there's like a little button before you hit the thing you're sharing that says share my sound. I somehow have you have to stop sharing.
Okay.
And now go back to share. And before you click the screen, you'll see at the bottom, it says
Share my computer sound. There you go.
Somehow I have gone for years without knowing.
Optimize for video clip, whatever. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Why isn't it working? What?
Did I mess it up?
No. Let me go back out. Let me try. I may have done something too much here. Maybe I don't need this.
You have as many tabs as I do open. It makes my heart happy.
It gives me anxiety.
I know.
I put a link to the chat to the direct website if you want to look at this in parallel. And you can start at learn.kqed.org and then click on media challenges and you'll get there. Okay.
While we're doing this, I just found that just came and dropped into my email inbox today is Teaching Tolerance is
Yeah.
doing a thing as well on elections and actually having registering kids to vote and work. I just got to skim it a little bit.
It's a voter project. Yeah.
Like a voter project thing that would tie into that as well. Just another resource and looking at things over time. Probably not for the spring.
You don't hear the sound though.
You didn't hear the sound? Okay, let's, if you don't mind, let me keep trying.
Okay.
Share computer sound. Okay.
Future Voters Project, it's called.
Yeah, it just landed in my box today. So it looks promising for high school, mostly seniors, I would think, because they're going to be the closest to voting for that particular project. But
unfortunately, not everyone has it for them or their families. This past year has been an absolute roller coaster that began with my mom being diagnosed with cancer. When my mom went through 16 rounds of chemo, 28 rounds of radiation, and a mastectomy, it was not easy. And without the medical insurance provided by my dad's job, my mom would not have received the treatment she needed in order to continue watching my siblings and I grow. But I know that not everyone has access to this medical insurance. America's healthcare costs an average of $10,000 per person, and it doesn't provide any type of universal health coverage according to Physicians for a National Health Program. As stated by PBS, over 44 million people in the U.S. don't have medical insurance or assistance, and 38 million don't have enough insurance to cover all costs. This generation is crumbling, and it's because health insurance is unaffordable to the people who need it most. America has been lagging behind. It is time for our country to follow suit. Help us make a stance and encourage leaders to make healthcare affordable for its citizens.
Hi, this is Pamela Serrano, and this is my brief but spectacular story.
I love them.
Just to say there is a transcript as well, right?
Yep. So they asked that the kids submit the transcript as well as the media.
that is so great. I'm going to go on there.
And Anna, I was thinking, like, when you were talking about your work, it's that sort of mix of like personal experience or connection plus the research, right? And you can really see that in these examples of how the kids, and that's actually, there are some resources for both student-facing resources and teacher-facing resources in their sort of curricular toolkit that are
that's awesome.
Support like thinking about like what's the intersection of those.
Yeah, the whole point of the project was to empower students through language, and this would be like a great way to put that into practice. That's really cool. Thanks for sharing.
And it seems like they've done so much work towards this already. Like there's sounds like you know a lot.
Yeah, well, their grades depend on it right now.
One of the things that I feel though is that these videos, and they end up being pretty short compared to the posts that your kids put up on Youth Voices, for example. Those would be too long to turn into a video. But I like the depth and what they're doing with that. So I think these videos end up being the tip of the iceberg, and then there's all these other posts that might be on Youth Voices, for example. And then like, oh, let's put that part up on KQED.
Well,
and or it starts with KQED, and then you say, oh, you're really interested in that. Why don't you explore that further? I think it could go either way.
Like transmedia and like a transmedia project that way, because you could take like a topic and a set of research that you're doing and put it in these different, like what happens when you make a 2-minute video of it? What happens when you make a blog post of it? It's really different. I think it's kind of cool.
So I may be going too fast here, but I'm going to do it. So if we start back with, where was it? Oh, if I just refresh, I'm not sharing my screen yet, so I realize I'm not. Okay, let's start back with trauma, right, of separation. And if we look at that post, now, because we, and often we have to go back and do it. That's cool, I think. We added, and we can talk to them eventually about, we added the category of immigration. There is now this link on this one, and there are 16 of these, 16 different categories like this, and I'll show you this. This link takes him to, hopefully it'll get there, yeah, an immigration study group on NowComment, right? Which, if he would get there, and if he's not a member already, there's a big button right here that says join, and he can quickly join. And if he's not a member of NowComment yet, I mean, I can make your students members quickly. So these 3 students, let's see. Oh, this is my student. This is Chris Sloan's student. 2 of these are Chris Sloan's students, right? They have started these to collect together articles and videos about the issue. And the hope here is that they'll be able to find each other and annotate together, right? So these are collections of research that they've pulled together. I said I was going fast, but I'll slow down and ask any questions so far. That's where we're going here.
I think I missed where you got to immigration at the southern border. Did you just know it was there, or did you get to it?
So I will show you there are 2 different ways of getting there. So it's mainly, Chris was going to be here tonight to explain this, but I'll explain it for him. So it's mainly his kids who have created this list of issues that they are interested in, kind of like what you were saying, Nicole, but maybe a little more specific. I don't know, but we'll think about that in a second. But if we go to, because Andrew used the category immigration, this comes up automatically here for him or anybody to go and join, right? If you go to the front page of NowComment, down here on the right side are the 16, I think it's 16 issues that we're playing with right now.
Oh, cool.
And it's totally interesting to look at the KQED. I'm clicking fast here, right? But don't get dizzy. Where were their issues? Yeah, their issues are very similar. If I can get there. How do I get rid of this?
Oh, there's an issues
there it goes.
button right in the middle there.
Yeah, but I can't get rid of the I got it. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I mean, their issues: immigration, Black Lives Matter, health, refugees, right? Mental health. Interesting that those are very similar to our 16, it seems to me. And, you know, it's not clear that our 16 will end up being what we end up doing. Wanted to show one possibility under mental health. So one of my students and Jessica and Ed Spears students at Pulse and one of Chris's students have connected around mental health issues. And if I can find the article quickly, it's worth seeing. Yeah, this one. Now, don't tell everyone this is what we're teaching them, but sleep deprivation can rapidly reduce symptoms of depression.
Wow.
I know, it's making me think. But so here's my student in the Bronx. She responded, and Chris's student responded to her, and she responds back to her. So they're sort of reading the text together, but also they end up
That's
just
what's
sort of
so
talking
cool
to each
about
other.
this.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
Hmm.
yeah. So where did she? Oh, girl, we both need more sleep. They're like telling each other they need to get better sleep. But if they get better sleep, they'll get depressed. No, I don't know. I can't figure it out.
That's so cool.
But just going back for a second, so Mary Ellie has collected 3 other articles. She hasn't read them yet, but she sort of collected them together with that one, and then maybe they'll get to them, maybe they won't. But that's kind of the idea, is that we set up these collections where kids can then research together.
So
I should stop right there and hear where your questions or thoughts are. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm thinking we start our next semester, and one of the books, excerpts of books we're going to read is called How to Break Up with Your Phone. And so there's a whole, it's not really like you need to break up with your phone, but like, what are some of the issues? I'm wondering, would that be its own thing, or would it go under mental health? I mean, could we?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know.
Yeah,
It
I
could
mean,
be its own
can
thing.
we come up with another topic, like if the kids said cell phone use? Because I want to get away from like whether you should have cell phones in the classroom and that kind of stuff. And so really talking about the addiction and the way it's taken away. We just had a really powerful thing at work, and one of the speakers was on suicide, and then talking about social media and phone use and disconnect, and it kind of caused my kids to start asking questions. So I was just curious how, I guess that was a long way to say, how can I start another topic in there?
The answer is yes, and the youth can too. Any user of NowComment can do this.
Start a new.
And I wanted to try to get to here, and there's a button for create group, right?
Okay.
So you create group, and I'm hoping this will come up quickly enough to show. When you create a group now, this is kind of new, so I'm kind of excited about it, but you can make it public so anyone can discover it. So I want to recommend doing that. Because then we can put it on that list on the front. Somebody can find it and just join that group. We don't have to kind of figure out how to get them into the group. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. I did skip over totally, the uploading document. That's really where you want to start. I just wanted to say that. So go in and check out uploading document yourself. To upload an article that you think is important there. Getting them into groups and collections can be done later, right? Just to say. And that's true with the youth too. They probably first need to say, I think this is an important document. Let me put this up there, right?
And then you can start curating them after that.
That's right.
Perfect.
Now, there's nothing magic about, or there's nothing automatic about getting into this group. You just need to let me know, or I'll see it or something, and I just have to add, type it in to this.
Do you know how this would work with something that requires a subscription, like Newsella or one of those other school database, research database things?
So yes, and Chris runs into this also because he's using databases, library databases. So if you can copy the article, you can put it in NowComment.
Okay.
Is the short answer to it.
And we just cite it the heck out of everything and then go under the guise of its educational piece. I mean, we're not trying to say, I know it's tricky for us too. I was thinking some of the things that we read are research based, but as long as we're citing it in this situation, I don't think we're going to run into a bunch of copyright issue with that.
Okay. Cool.
If we do, we can take stuff down. I mean, there is that. There is a place there is a place to put citations, by the way. in 1 minute, I'm going to come full circle here. Sorry. In this way, if I can find it fast enough. So I created a group, and you all should go there and join it. It's what is it called? KQED Youth Media Challenge, right?
Can you send that URL in the chat or something?
Yeah, but I'm going to say it too. It's nowcomment.com/groups/KQED.
No.
Okay. So when you go there, if you can join this group, and in this group is a collection, right, of that video that I just showed is there. I put that up right before we started. So youth can go to this video, kind of get a sense of what this thing is about. The transcript is here, and they can annotate it, right? And also they can take a look at this infographic, which tells them what a persuasive commentary is. So that's there are some other ones here, which are some adults created. I'm going to be putting more youth ones up here from there, right? So I told you I was going to do that fast. Let's stop and see what you're thinking now. Oh, I wasn't sharing that last piece?
No.
Oh.
But I clicked
Sorry.
on the link that somebody posted. Now comment
Now
group.
I'm sharing it again, right?
Now
I
comment.
thought I was sharing that all the time. No, it doesn't. So this is what the collection looks like, right?
This is cool, and this really ties back in. Yeah, this is really good. So you're asking what next steps are. So my weekend is now going to go playing in there to see what aligns with the work we're going to be doing with small groups. So what will be different this semester for me is I'm getting, some new kids. So I'm imagining I'll probably have 3 or 4 groups of 5 on doing different project type things. So the posts will look a little different. But I'm really excited with this NowComment thing. We played a little bit with it. We're getting better at it. And the kids like it because they see other people other than themselves, right? It's not the same 2 or 3 people commenting. Commenting here dies for me because the kids are, they kind of know each other, they're at home and they get 1 or 2 comments and it's that. But I think this has some real big potential I want to explore and see what happens. Doing it more often, more frequently. And then my other commitment is that once a week, it's going to be a requirement in my class for their English class that they go into Youth Voices and respond to 5 students, which isn't, the most generic, or I guess that's not the right word for it, but I mean, germane, I guess, way of doing it. But I know if I do that, then they'll get there and they'll want to be there more. And that's kind of my goal.
Cool.
Does that make me horrible to say you
Absolutely
must?
Not. No, not at all. Are we going around and saying what our next steps are?
Go for it.
Okay.
It sounds good to me.
That was so well thought out. I think I'm just waiting on the submissions this week. But the walkthrough of seeing the dashboard and seeing Paul navigate it really helped me. So I think I'll be able to help a few students who might be struggling this week get things posted, which is great.
Yeah, I'm not going to take the time to do this now, but I'll share with you 3 videos that Chris Sloan made that'll help simplify some of that back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And I think so. Our semester is going to end this week, and I'm going to be grading all weekend. But next week, I think we're gonna try the, like, what does the word American mean? We're gonna try that project again. We did that last year, and the students, I had everybody write a blog post. So I think we'll do that again. And I gave them, I think 5 or 6 different, like we did videos, we looked at a photo essay, we looked at all these different perspectives on what it means to be American, and then they wrote blog posts. But I didn't give very good writing prompts last year, so the blog posts were all over the place. So that's my goal this year, is to write better writing prompts.
Did you use American Creed?
I used an excerpt from it. I used the Marine section. I also used, actually the ones from last year are still up. I was reading them the other day. I used a clip from the show called The Newsroom. I used a Russell Means speech talking about Native American rights. There's a whole collection that I'd be happy to share with people if they're interested. But yeah, I did use this.
I would be interested, Anna, in seeing like what you put together for that. Especially with native rights and stuff, because a lot of that, the movie only does those clips. They only do so much, and there's a lot more to be said. So
yeah, I'm not a huge fan of, to be transparent, not a big fan of the movie. So I love that clip though, because you think it's going in one direction, and then it catches the kids off guard, because it's a great part of the film, but I don't love the film just because it feels a little propaganda-y. That's kind of the word I would use. So yeah, I'm happy to share.
I think it's helpful for people to hear like how things could be met, the text set you would put together.
Yeah, who's not there?
Yeah, and the whole point was like trying to draw on different groups of people's experiences. So we had like, yeah. Anyways, I'll just share it. What would be the best way to do that? I don't have it in front of me now.
Send it to me. I'll send it around.
Okay, like a Google Doc with links. Is that probably?
That's great. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I will do that.
I know how to open that.
And there are all these clips too, by the way, that have comments that could be good or bad. However you want to handle it, and we could set something like this up out of your list too. But more important, I wanted to make sure the category here, and there is an American Creed category, which brings up a lot of kids posts who have been through some of this work already.
Kids posts probably like the most diverse set.
I'm sure.
And
this is where we spent a lot of time last year.
That's really interesting.
And it really freed my students up, because I have kids with a variety of levels. Most of my students honestly are challenged by school and the thought of writing essays, and to see kids' writings and in a variety of levels and things really freed up their thought. A lot of them were still afraid to post and things like that, but this I thought was even more powerful. I felt like you did. I loved American Creed for a lot of the reasons, but then we spent too much time having to debrief and discuss and debate where we didn't get enough writing time. So that's my goal this year, is to get to the meat of what we want them to do. As opposed to so much, I did too much background.
Yeah, we did. I think the way I did it last year was we did almost like I think we did a different document every day for like a week. So they watched the clip, responded to, discussed, read an article. We read a really interesting article from Jose Antonio Vargas about realizing he's an undocumented immigrant. And also he comes out twice. He comes out as an undocumented immigrant and then comes out as gay to his family. And it's like double, it's really fast.
Wow.
Really, it's long though. But we looked at articles from the news, and it was like bam, 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 each thing, and they latched on to like one of the things they liked, so more deeply into that. At least that was what they were supposed to do. So.
I am struck that you're just the metaphor I used earlier about iceberg. Not taking away from the richness of what you're doing, but like getting the KQED project in that too, I think would be really interesting.
Yeah, you've just given me so much to think about. I think I have to like process it this week and figure out, because it does seem like such a nice way,
It's a
an
perfect
easy thing to
fit.
weave in. Yeah.
I went through part of the week. They did a week-long boot camp thing and I didn't post, but I was playing with it. Life happened and I wasn't able to do as much as I want, but there's a great thing on KQED's site and they have a whole thing on how to do it. And it sounds to me like the work you're doing, that would be a great way to frame or to reframe or house it and publish it in a different way. And there's just a lot of support things in there where the kids could really get that idea right. I don't know about you, my kids struggle with revision, that idea of like reframing something they've done. It's like, I'm done and it's over. And in here it would be like, hey, look what we've done. This could fit here. How do we might want to change it a little bit and post here? And it gives them that whole real reason to revise and to reflect and to get a new audience, which for me is huge because they just are so one and done. You know, could be
That's
me,
a really good point.
a one and done situation most of the time, unless this is the one arena I've found over the past 2 years that my kids will work and struggle for. Because it's a bigger audience, it's student audience. They really frankly don't care about adults.
Not only student audience, just to keep in mind, the project is to go out onto PBS stations as well.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that part.
There's even a bigger audience around that. So
This could be quite huge, yeah.
Oh, I'm going to call time. Thank you all. So we're going to quit before the Senate does. And anyway, thank you.
And we know.
Peggy was asking about the recording. You saw that?
It is there, yes. So I'm thinking about a URL for it, but anyway, it doesn't matter. It'll be on YouTube and embedded on a NowComment page that people can annotate. So that's all getting organized, and we're sort of relaunching TTT this way. So thank you for all the ideas, and let's reconnect whenever possible on Wednesday evenings. Thank you so much.
Everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.